What's up, boys? This is my first RvR/PvP video. This is going to go over Tier 1 when you're in Nordland and how to do the RvR. Because there's always new people in this server and they're not quite sure what they're supposed to do. And honestly, my first time doing this, I was just running around trying to get kills. The first thing I want to touch base on is the UI when it comes to RvR. So what you're going to see is at the top right hand corner of my screen, there's a gold eagle and a white skull. You can sort of figure out that the eagle represents order and the red skull represents destruction, aka chaos. The blue that you see there is how much resources that the order have collected. The second thing I want to touch base on is how to win RvR. So when you get into Tier 1, you want to capture the flag. When you capture those flags, they're going to start generating a resource deposit or a box at the base of the flag. What you want to do is, don't be a dick about it, grab the box and then run it back to your war camp. The war camp in Tier 1 is that sandy beach ramp that you ran down in order to get into the RvR area, and when you go back to the war camp on the left hand side right before you reach the guards, there is a khaki flag. Take your supplies, you're going to be glowing red by this time, and click on the flag and you've deposited supplies. And then that bar that we were talking about is going to start filling up with red if you're chaos or blue if you're order. Also keep in mind, since you have resource boxes and someone is carrying those resources to the flag, they can make you drop those resources by attacking you or killing you, and you can do the same thing to the other side. The second thing I want to touch base on is how to get into a warband. If you come from Warcraft, it's called a raid. So what you want to do is once you get into the zone, click L, as in Larry. You might have this changed, but there's a button where you can click to go to groups, and then you can auto join warbands. So in this case, you want to click L and find whatever group is in Nordland, and then you're going to be in the raid. Once you're in the warband, any kills that people in your warband get will also count towards you, so you'll get influence, you'll get experience, you'll get renown. So make sure on the right side of my screen you see that I picked up a bunch of RvR quests, which are signaled by the little symbol there with two swords crossing each other. So make sure you grab your quests beforehand and get to killing. Another thing I want to talk about is the item drops. So when you are in your warband and someone in your warband gets a kill from someone who is worth a kill, like if you have some dude that's suiciding on the order side and we kill him like 30 times, he's not worth anything. But if you kill someone that doesn't normally die, they're worth something. So what you're going to have is pretty much a spam of medallions, items, you name it, falling onto your screen to where you can need, greed, or pass. Pretty much what I've seen is everyone needs no matter what on the Scout's medallions, but when it comes to items, if it's honestly not an upgrade, just greed on it. If you don't care, pass on everything, but just don't be a dick about it. Another bit of advice, if you haven't really been in the mix of the RvR before, or let's just say you're not getting the hang of it, RvR is basically like a dance between two partners. So you have, of course, order on the left, chaos on the right, and in the middle there's no man's land. Generally what you see in RvR is three different rows. You have your tanks in the front, obviously, you have your damage in the middle, obviously, and then you have your spellcasters and healers in the back. They're obvious. What tends to happen is the tanks will go into no man's land with their DPS sort of coming in and out. The goal, generally when it's, Zerg versus Zerg, everyone needs to be killing the tanks. Once one side loses their tanks, pretty much the back end is just super squishy to the point where the back end starts running away. So really the goal of this dance is to kill the tanks and then push through to get whatever objective you want. In my video you can see that I'm a two-hand blackguard, so I'm tanky but I also can do damage. And right now the order is backed up to their war camp to where we're just holding them there while people run flags and make us win the game. It won't always be this way. Sometimes you will be at your war camp and you can't do anything, but that's where strategy comes into play. At one point in this video I died and I had to respawn back at the war camp, and then I came back and we were being pushed at our side of the war camp because we had lost all the fights. Just me alone attacking from the rear, causing chaos, no pun intended, made it so my teammates had enough organization to push all the way back into the middle to where we got the flag. So it's pretty interesting. Lastly, once the battle is over and the bar is fully filled up one way or the other, it doesn't need to be all the way filled up, just basically whoever gets to the halfway mark first, and you hold all the flags or capture the area until it resets. Once everything's over, go back to your war camp, and then look for basically they're like vendors. They're called recruit medallion vendors, recruit emblem vendors, influence vendors, whatever. In this case, tier 1 is next to the purple camp, and go turn in your items for some pretty sweet rewards. This was my general overview for tier 1 RvR. It's not super detailed to the point where you're min-maxing, it's just to get you by, honestly. If I learn more, I might make another video on tier 1 RvR if I'm more experienced in the future, but hopefully this gets you at least on your feet and not too confused as to what's going on. Thank you, have a great one.